morning, everybody. It is Monday, May 15th, about 9 o'clock in the morning. My name is Colette. I'm the Highway Stitcher, here to give you my stitching from the highway and at home. It's probably about 56 degrees here right now, 13 degrees Celsius, and going up to high about 75, 76, 24 degrees Celsius. Been some nice days out there, and we had a little bit of a monsoon type of a weather element come through, but it came through and went away, so now we've got some sunny skies, so everything's pretty nice out there. I hope it stays like that. I'm going to tell you what I've done the last couple weeks. I've been involved in Stitch Mania. 2 weeks ago I made a video and showed what I was going to be working on, and so I'll show you what I got done for my whips. I did a different whip each day, and here was my list in my Stitcher book, and the little blue dots there showed that I didn't put stitches in each one. And actually on all the days almost, I put at least, even with everything else I was doing, which I will tell you about at the end of with my plans, everything I was up to this week. But even with all the busyness, I think the least amount of stitches I put in was 200 on one day. So it wasn't too bad. And in some cases, I got over 900 on one whip. So I'll let you know what those were and show you what got accomplished. So on to Stitch Mania and what I did this week, or last 2 weeks. First one I worked on is Look for the Beauty by Bent Creek. This one I started one of those events, the New Year's Eve, New Year's event, 12 by 12, that's put on by Kia B and Pam of Just Keep Stitching, where you work on a different project each hour. And I started this one, I believe, on New Year's Eve, and worked on it also on New Year's Day. But didn't do, or maybe I only worked on it on New Year's Eve, probably. I only started I only got the little top of the flower done there. So as you can see, I did quite a bit more this time for Stitch Mania. This is being stitched on a 32 count color and cotton. It's called Swiss Coffee linen. I'm using just the called for overdyes to go along with it. And I got quite a bit done there, as you can see, because the only thing done before was just the little round top part of the flower. I like how this is turning out. This is such a fun stitch. It's just really just fun doing just all the little motifs, and I love the saying in it, of course. It's totally me. And so I've been enjoying this one a lot, and didn't realize I had a lot of time that Monday I think it was a Monday that we started on Maynia. I had a lot of time to work on it that day, and I got 621 stitches done on it, so that was a good accomplishment. Of course, I hadn't started some of the other things that I was doing on that day, but I was happy with that. The second Stitch Mania whip is one that is a previous whip from years ago. I started this one on 2018, I believe. It is Prairie Life Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. This one I had a goal, but I didn't quite reach the goal. I just had a short amount of time to work on this one on Tuesday. I did do 323 stitches, and I did start and do some of the people, but I did not get them completed, as you can see. So what was done when I showed you last week were the 2 horses and the wagon. And so I moved over and started working. I got Jack done, their dog. Part of Paw, I do need to do some over one on his face. Some of Ma, some of Mary, and just a head on Laura and Carrie. So, but it's a start, and I was happy to get that much done. This is the whole thing here. How it's looking. It's looking nice. And this is stitched on a 32 count Belfast linen. It's called Fairy Dust. And it's all the called for overdyes. Okay, May 3rd, when I spoke on my Stitch Mania video 2 weeks ago. I said that I was going to work on a couple of my cells for at least 2 days so that I could get them completed, their section completed, and that would be part of my Stitch Mania. So, of course, one of them was Sunnyside Sampler, and that you've seen if you've been watching the channel at all. We're doing this as a cell. Many people now, actually. Join in with us if you'd like. And just been a real fun stitch. Every section I've sectioned it off, you know, that like into houses, and like a house a month, or you know, a section a month, and it's just been fun, been flowing along really well. So I did this one on both May 3rd and May 5th. So I finished the next house. So that is the house with those cute sunflowers and that honeybee and that butterfly, and it's kind of a shorter little house, cute house. This is being stitched on a vintage 32 count vintage country mocha, 2/2, and how many stitches did I get? Let me see. This is a called for silks also, and I got done. Oh my goodness, I did 450 on the 3rd and 914 on the 5th. So, of course, you can see with that house, that's a lot of filling. So, but I got the whole section done and ready to move on to the next. It's really been a fun piece to stitch. So that was on the 3rd and the 5th for Maynia. On the 4th, it's the May the 4th be with you, of course. Our Star Wars themed day. This one is a really old one from 2017. Crazy to stitch in this house. It's all the sayings for in this house. We use the Force, Star Wars, all the funny stuff for Star Wars. I'm doing this for my son-in-law. This is the only piece really out of all my Stitch Mania pieces that kind of burns me out quite a bit. And it's not because it's hard or anything else. It's just because it's so darn boring with all the block lettering. But I did put in 456 stitches into it. May not look like it, but it actually was that many. And what I had stopped at is, if you see the word use there, I only had U and Z done. So I did E to finish off U's, and then I started TH for the. I had hoped to get the E done for the. That's a lot of stitches, but those are a lot of heavy-duty block letters, as you can see. So anyway, just plodding on a little at a time. This is being stitched on, let's see, 28 count, silver pearl, even weave. It is DMC black, 310, 2/2. And there she is. So that was May 4th for Stitch Mania, a holdover from many Manias ago. Okay, on the 5th, of course, that was Sunnyside Sampler, so I don't need to re-show that. On the 6th was a new start. I said that there were several new starts I wanted to do, and this was the first one, Chicken Math, and Designer's Forbidden Fiber. She was at the Southern Utah Stitch Retreat, and I picked up some fabric and floss and this pattern to start. This is just so cute and funny. The fabric is Forbidden Fiber, 32 count glass elevator. Just a real pretty blue. And the floss is also Forbidden Fiber that she dyed. And Leanne, it was really nice to meet you. I don't know whether, I know that you were talking that you watch my channel. If you are watching, you have beautiful fibers and fabric and are a very sweet person. So I was really happy to meet you. So chicken got done, and a little bit of the chicken got done. So And that was, let's see how many I got done on that one. That was 452, so not bad at all. So, okay, that moves us down to May 7th, which was a Sunday, and then also on May 14th, which is the following Sunday. They were both my Sunday stocking stitching. Hashtag if you would like to join. I'm working on this gold collection stocking and been working on this for a long time. So anyway, I did get quite a bit done on it. Let's see here. 750 between the 2 days. So I was satisfied with that. I'm almost done with the one part of the heel hitting the deer bauble, as you can see. Let's see here. Move that over. And so when I fill in the last little bit, probably right about here, there's just a little bit more through here, then I'm going to go back and back stitch it all. So this is just a lovely piece. It's just a kit from Gold Dimensions, light blue Ada and the called for floss, but it's been really fun to work on. And I actually didn't think it would be when I started it, because I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Dimensions kits. But this one, I have been very much enjoying it after I did a few things to change how my floss setup was, and also how my pattern was. So, and you can go on, back onto previous videos. I could check and see which ones, but I explained to you what I did to make it more pleasant for me to work on. And since then, I love to pick it up. So it's been lots of fun. Okay, so that was on the 7th and 14th, both Sundays. So next we move on to May 8th, which is a previous whip from Stitch Mania. And this is Panoply of Posies, Panoply of Posies, whatever you want to call it. P of Posies. So, kind of not so ostentatious looking or interesting, but I've been having fun with this because I've been doing my own thing with it. And I've told you in past videos what I'm doing with this. I'm making it a patriotic themed design with the Daughters of the American Revolution, the DAR up there at the top, focused, my focus. And I belong to the Daughters of the American Revolution. So this piece has been fun to do. I have like 5 different flosses I'm using on this. I'm finally remembering I wrote it down. I have 3 sampler threads, Cherry Bark, Cranberry and Dungarees, and then 2 Classic Colorworks, Bamboo and Blacksmith Blue. And they've been combining very nicely. And this is being stitched on 32 count Vintage Country Mocha. Probably, let's see, this probably gives you the best look on how it looks in real life. Just turning out really pretty. And I wish I'd had more time on this on that day. But by that day I was doing some other stuff, that, gardening and other things. And there were a lot of grandkid performances. That was what I was going to talk about. So I really didn't get a lot done on it. So let's see, 200, that was the 200 that I did. Probably my least amount the least amount for Stitch Mania so far. I did this motif here in Dungarees, and then started this motif in the Bamboo. So that's what I got done on that. Oh, that, when I said that was a previous Mania start, I started it 2019. Okay. The next one is my other cell, my birthday cell that I'm doing with my friend Krista. We picked My Day Complete, a Kathy Barrick pattern. If anybody wants to join us, it's our hashtag is our birthday, day, and month, OCT29 cell. And I worked on this on the 9th, May 9th, and May 11th. And let's see. I got 330 stitches on May 9th, and then another 203 stitches on May 11th. There wasn't my section that I sectioned off to work on and complete wasn't very much to do, which I was glad about, actually, because then I had a little free time to do some other things that I was doing. So, and the section I did was actually just the letters there and a little tiny bit of the blue trunk. I cannot count my day complete. So this is stitched on a 36 count Seraphim fabric called Boston. And I'm just using the DMCs on it, and I think it's turning out really nice. So I'm working along on this and keeping up on my progress for each section each month. So that was May 9th and May 11th. So we need May 10th. That is a new start. This was a new start that I got from Stitch Shenanigans. And Sarah, Stitch and Mommy, designed this pattern for our retreat at Stitch Shenanigans. So this is another one of my new starts. And I'm pretty much just using DMC. This was a scrap piece of fabric I had. It looks like it has kind of a tinge of green to it. But I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure what it is. I didn't staple the color on it. It is a 32 count, though, I'm pretty sure. Let's see if I've got that written down. No, I don't. I may not be. No, actually, I think it's a 40 count fabric that I had because I wanted to make it a little smaller. So anyway, I did the stitching of the letters quite a bit. I am using the called for DMC, just a different fabric in 40 count. And let's see, I got 405 stitches. Those few little letters made quite a bit of stitches. So that is that one. New start that day for Maynia. Okay, then we're on to the 11th, of course, was my other day for My Day Complete by Kathy Barrick. So then we're on to the 12th, which is a previous whip, which I worked on quite a bit last month. This month, I didn't get quite so much done on it, 360 stitches, and it was all on just one area, but every little bit counts. This is Let's Visit the Southwest by Ursula Michael. And to some of you, this was in my Whip Go as a fan favorite. And so what I worked on this time from last time was I filled in the whole rest of that dream catcher. So the dream catcher, it's not done though, totally, because I need to fill in a few more of the beads. As you can see, the round parts in that dream catcher are all going to be different colors of DMC filled in. So I do have to do that still. But I did do all the back stitch to make the whole dream catcher, and I finished the stitching around it to encircle it. So that made the 360 stitches. So if that's combined with what I did last month, which was the hot and dry, the ranches, over there, the Route 66, and the guacamole and tacos, tortillas, fajitas, that's a good amount of stitching. And this is on Picture This Plus Mellow. I'm pretty sure it's 28 count. And I'm using the Call for DMC. Pretty pattern. Okay, and then my last day, because we have Enchanted stocking. We have the stocking sale on both the 7th and the 14th. So that was my last day yesterday, was working on the stocking. So my last day of a piece that was also a previous Maynia. I think I started this one. Sometimes I have to think about it. And it's one all of you know who watch me. I think I started it and then restarted it and then restarted it, but it was started originally Stitch Mania, I think 2019. This is a lace maker by Artisy. The artwork's by Miles Burkett Foster. Again, I didn't write down the percentage. I think it's 57% done now. But I did, of course, write down my my stitches that I did. And I did real well. I got 736 stitches in that one day. So that almost comes up to, the Sunnyside sampler is the most at 914. The lace maker is next with 736. So won't look like that so much, of course, because as you know, this has a lot of confetti, and I did not pick a section with a lot of fill-in. I worked on confetti. So what I did is I took my highest unworked stitches and worked them down in a typewriter method and started filling things in. So most of it you wouldn't be able to tell of anything that I did, even with that many stitches done, except for maybe right here, because this area right here was kind of sparse and quite a bit of it got filled in right there. So, and just along the way, dot, 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 as I filled in stitches. So every little bit counts on this though. So not taking out the Q snaps, but you can kind of get the idea. And this will, you know, amazingly, as the full coverage started on Maynia, this will get done on a Maynia. It'd be nice if it was next Maynia. I'm not sure if I'm going to shoot for that. Haven't decided yet. If I do, I'll really have to concentrate on it. But it will be done on one of my upcoming Maynia years. So. Okay, now on to my plans, the rest of my Maynia plans. And I'll go on and show you the rest of them. You know something? I hope I have here. Oh yeah, that's my next Maynia. First I was thinking I should have already shown it. Talking to myself. But okay, excuse me for a second. I'm not going to turn off the video. I'm just going to grab all my Maynia for the rest of the week. Ta-da, I'm back. Nope, not yet. Now I'm back. Okay. Today, and we'll see how I do, because I'm not going to have a whole lot of time to stitch, so this may be kind of sparse. But today's Maynia is also a very old Stitch Mania piece from 2018 called Count Your Blessings by Long Dog Sampler. So, I stitched this on a 28 count antique white 2/2 with the called for over-dyed threads. And this is what it looks like now. There is a mistake in this, and it's a major one. And I didn't have the time to rip it out. So, since I didn't have time, I spent actually the last 2 weeks when I had some extra time ripping out something that I had to rip out for WIPGO that I wanted to do quite badly. So I didn't have the time to spend ripping this out because I'm going to have to take out, the mistake is all the way up here by the house, so I'm going to have to take out this whole thing here. And I can't fudge it. It's one of those things I cannot fudge because of the counting with how that V goes. I mean, I guess I could try to redesign it to work, but it's probably easier for me just to rip it out. So the little bit of stitching time I have today is I'm really just going to work on the border because I know the border is fine. So probably work on that side of the border, those flowers, maybe the other side. Haven't decided yet. So, and I said this was on 28 count antique white Zweigart with over-dyed threads. So this poor little piece. It won't get a lot done today because I don't have much time today, but a little bit is better than nothing. So, actually, probably the rest of this week for the rest of Maynia, I won't have a whole lot of time, but I don't think my stitching counts will be as high as they were this last week and a half. Okay, this next one I'll show you a picture of. I never seem to pull out a picture in time, but this time I did. The Famous Pandemic by Long Dog Sampler. We'll see what I get done on this. This is actually WIPGO, my WIPGO for this month of May. So what I decided to do was put it into 3 days of Maynia. So I'm putting it in on today on the 16th, the 21st, and the 23rd to end up Maynia. So it'll be its 3 days because my WIPGO goal was to work on the piece 3 days. Depending, I don't know how many stitches I would get in 3 days. It could be a lot. It could be just a little bit. For sure, I would work on my WIPGO pieces for 3 days. So because of that, I decided to put Pandemic into Maynia, so I would have 3 days of working on it. This is a little bit I've got done. I just kept it in the square here. Of course, it's going to be a huge piece. Even on this. This is 25 count, 1/1 full cross. So it's still going to be big, even with just 1/1 on 25 count. This is just an even weave, white Swag fabric, but I really wanted the colors to pop, and I didn't really care. White I felt was just fine. This is a Mrs. Seda silk in the colorway Darling. She does beautiful silks. MISSUS, and then Seda is SEDUS, I think. So I'll work on this one for those 3 days for my WIPGO as well as Maynia. Okay, on the 17th is this is a 2017, I believe, Maynia piece. It's a Hands Across the Sea, another one that'll take a long time to finish. It's on a huge piece of fabric because at the time I wasn't stitching any higher than 32 count, so I know pretty sure this is 32 count. I don't think it's 28, even though it's huge. I'm not even going to unwrap the whole fabric. I just have the top part I'm working on, so I'll show you that. So this one, I'm stitching on a 32 count Lakeside Linen Vintage Light Exemplar, and this is what's been done with it only, just the top part of that border. I mean, this is the border. It's a flower border. And this is a Victoria Motto floss conversion that she did for this piece years ago. And you can see that I'm right at the big rows. So, I'll just start working on some of the stuff around it to finish it in. We'll see how I do stitch-wise. So that's the 17th for Maynia. The 18th is going to be a new start. This was, I saw this at the Southern Utah retreat last month. I mean, I'd seen this pattern before and liked it. It's from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy, Quaker Bees. But a friend of mine, one of my Wasatch Whipster friends, Emily, was working on it on this bee honeycomb fabric. It's and it's really hard to show here because it doesn't show up good at all, but it's kind of got a greenish tinge to it, and then the kind of tannish for the honeycomb. And it is absolutely gorgeous. Her piece is looking beautiful. So I just decided to jump on the bandwagon and do the same thing. I am using the same overdyes for it. And let's see, this is called, oh my goodness, part of it's cut off. So it is Fabric Flare, but I don't know the color. Beehive, some kind of beehive one. And I'm using the called for overdyes for it. So that's a new start for the 18th, May 18th. Put that back in the plastic so I don't lose this particular one. Okay, 19th is also an old whip from 2018. Old Stitch Mania whip. One Nation. I've seen some of these finished and they're so beautiful. And every time I pick this one up and work on it, I just love it. But then I set it aside and work on other things. So hopefully this one I'll be working on it at a gathering of some stitchy friends. So I'm hoping that could either be good or bad as far as getting enough stitches into it, but we will see. I'm doing this on a 28 count fabric flare. I think it's called Smoky Pearl, but unfortunately the fabric flare part of it is cut off. It's a pretty mottled grayish blue. So I totally did not do what they did on this pattern and put it onto like a kind of a, maybe more of a vintage country mocha look, like a brown. For some reason I fell in love with this fabric, so I kind of had to sub out my colors for it to work. And they are working. If you look close here, you can see that white for the stars, the flower stars. And even back there you can see it too. So this is, I have all of the threads that are over dyed written down this time. I'm using just 3. I'm using one Classic Colorworks in Cupid, which will be the red, which I have not started yet. And then 2 Gentle Arts, which I have worked on. The Gentle Art for the blue is Midnight. The Gentle Arts for the white is Chalk. Chalk. C-H-A-L-K. So that one will be on the, the 19th. And again, like I said, pandemic will be kind of interspersed among these when when I come to a date. I'll be seeing pandemic. Okay, I have 2 more along with pandemics in there 2 times. One of them is going to be on May 20th. It's a new start. Again, it's a new start from, what was this? I think, yeah, this is a new start from the Stitch Shenanigans retreat in Las Vegas. I saw this pattern and the next pattern that I'm going to show you at Stitcher's Paradise in Las Vegas. So this is Introverted by Silver Creek Samplers. It's so funny. It's such a fun pattern. It says, Introverted but will eagerly discuss everything cross stitch. So perfect. So perfect. There's some of the pretty colors that are in there. All over dyed like samplers, and I think probably mostly sampler threads. So I'm going to work on it on a vintage country mocha. And I think that will work well with every color. If I have some issues with some of the colors, I will sub out to something else. And then on the 21st is pandemic. On the 22nd, this is my other new start that I also found at Stitcher's Paradise during the Stitch Shenanigans retreat. It's a Bent Creek. I love Bent Creek. Each day provides its own gifts. And it shows like starting in the morning with the house and then working your way through the day into the evening. This again I'm going to do on the Vintage Country Mocha. This is a big piece. And here's some of the threads. All the threads and that are kitted up. They're all Weeks dye works. So that's my other new pattern. So that covers what I am doing for Stitch Mania all the way up through the 23rd, which I end my Stitch Mania on the year, like 2023 I ended on the 23rd. Who knows what I'll do next year. This year my original plan all the way up to probably until I went to after Stitch Shenanigans and went home, was to actually just work on my previous Mania whips and place them into their birthdays, the ones that you've seen. There's about 8 of them. But when I saw some of those new pieces, at the 2 different retreats, I realized I hadn't done any new starts since January 1st. And I was itching to do some new starts like them. And decided, okay, well, I'm going to do that. And then I thought, well, I'll just add on my sales that I'm working on during the year interspersed into my Stitch Mania too. So next year, when it comes to be Stitch Mania again, there will be a lot of empty spaces because, of course, some of those pieces. Hopefully a lot of them will already be done before next Stitch Mania. So those are the plans. Not for actually 2 weeks, but I probably won't show up again until 2 weeks from now again. And so I'm going to go on and tell you what I've been up to and also what I'm doing in a few days, where I'm going in a few days. Okay, first of all, what I've been up to, that's been making it a little hard to get stitching done on the Stitch Mania pieces, though it may not sound like I wasn't getting much done, because I really was getting quite a bit of stitches done each day, except for just 1 or 2. But I got excited about some gardening outside when the weather, it took so long for the winter to go away. And when it did finally, and I saw how trashed a lot of my front yard looked and needed more mulch in it, I had some ideas that I wanted to put some pavers and some raised areas around some beds. So I just got really excited about doing gardening, yard work, weeding, planting, putting in flowers. So I was doing that every morning during the time I've been doing Stitch Mania, except maybe the first few days. And I spent like couple 3 hours out there. I'd get up like 6:30 in the morning and go out and work on it, and then come back, take a bunch of Advil, hope that I wouldn't have, and put like stuff on my knees and like the hot pads and things like that. Seemed to have made it through all right, amazingly, but it did take away from my stitching time. But it's been fun and I've been enjoying it. So it's all that exciting springtime gardening, which I enjoy. So, and I don't always, to tell you the truth, I don't always enjoy it. Sometimes I'm not interested in it at all. So when I am interested in it, I should do it, because otherwise it's not going to get done. So since I was in the mood, I did it. And then also I had a lot, there's been about 6 in the last 2 weeks of grandkid performances, end of year things, all kinds of stuff like that, because the school year ends in another week. So I was going to a lot of grandkids' plays, sports things, band performances, piano recitals. So that took up a lot, 6 or 7 nights that I could have been stitching. So the stitching I was doing was basically during the day after gardening and before the grandkid performances. So that cut in my time too, and yet I still got quite a bit done, and I'm really surprised at how much stitching I did get done over these last 2 weeks. Now I don't really think it's going to be quite as good this coming week and a half for the rest of Mania, but we'll see how it works. And that's mostly because I'm going to a gathering of some friends up in Idaho, and it won't take me very long to get there. It only takes me about 6 hours to drive, and I'll be staying this coming Thursday night until Sunday morning, and then I head back on Sunday morning. So just a few days back. Actually, only 2 days total of stitching time. But sometimes retreats, you don't always get a lot of stitching done. I mean, it's not a retreat, it's just a group meeting, gathering of friends. But even then, you don't always get a lot of stitching done. So I'll see how I do. And also on Thursday, I'll be driving practically all day, because 6 hours. And on Sunday, I'll be driving practically all day. So those 2 days I'll be lucky to get 100, 200 stitches in. One of them is the Quaker bees on the one day. So that's all right. It's a little tiny pattern anyway. The other one is, I think, Pandemic. Yeah, it's Pandemic. So Pandemic has 3 days. If I only do a little bit at night when I get home, that's all right, because it's still 3 days worth of stitching. So I didn't plan that to be that way, but actually those driving days will work out good for the 2 pieces I have to do. So that, along with still doing some gardening, packing. After that is my husband's birthday on the 22nd, on Monday. We're doing a party, and then we hope to go up to the river house and spend some time. So my stitching time may be fragmented. We'll see how it goes. So anyway, that's what's been going on. So and I didn't get out my gratitude journal, so I'll turn around. Thank goodness it's always right behind me. So this will be off the cuff, and we'll just let it drop open to see what we got. Oh, this is a bee thing. I might as well use this. There's two here, of course, but I'm going to do the bee one since I'm doing a Quaker bees stitching. This says, hope is the only bee that makes honey without flowers. So I think that's great. So there it is. So just remember that quote. Remember to find the beauty in every day, everybody. It's out there. And I hope you guys all have a great stitchy couple weeks, and hopefully I'll see you in a couple weeks, probably from Washington, because it usually is easier for me to do video up there. May not have all of my materials with me, but it's usually easy to just kick back and relax there. So that's probably where I'll be doing it. Anyway, hope you guys all have a great week, 2 weeks, and get a lot of stitching done. If you're doing Maynia, enjoy your Maynia, and I'll see you in a while, in a couple weeks. Bye.